Easter Sunday. My house, my dining room table, and I was sitting in the garage with a paper plate while my family ate dinner inside. Mark, my eldest son, had opened the door around 1 o'clock. "Sorry, Mom, not enough room at the table." But there were 8 chairs. I knew because James and I bought that dining set 42 years ago. 8 chairs around a table that seats 10 if you squeeze. And today, 7 people. Mark, his sister Lisa, her husband Mike, their daughter Emma. My youngest son Tom flew in from Colorado with his wife Angela. 7 people, 8 chairs. "Maybe you'd be more comfortable out here," Mark said, handed me a paper plate, ham, green bean casserole, a roll. Then he closed the door. I sat on the folding chair between the lawn mower and James's old workbench. The garage was cold. April in the suburbs. Still jacket weather. I could hear them through the walls. Laughter. Emma's voice, excited about something. The clink of real plates, the china James and I got as a wedding gift. I was eating off paper in my own garage. I finished the ham, set the plate down, looked around. Boxes of Christmas decorations, garden tools, James's toolbox, exactly where he left it 6 months ago before the cancer took him. Everything in this garage I'd touched 1,000 times, except the panel behind the workbench, loose. I'd never noticed before. I stood up, moved closer. The wood panel didn't sit flush with the wall. I pulled it away. Behind it, mounted in the wall, the safe. James had installed it 30 years ago, showed me the combination once. "If something ever feels wrong, Maggie," he'd said, "check this safe. I've got important papers in there just in case." Something felt very wrong. I turned the dial. Right to 14. Left to 32. Right to 7. My birthday. The lock clicked. I opened the door. Inside, manila folders, bank statements, legal documents. I pulled them out, set them on the workbench under the overhead light. My will. I recognized the law firm letterhead, dated January 10th, 2024, January, 3 months ago, right after James died. I read the first page, last will and testament, of Margaret Brennan. Standard language about sound mind and body. Then the beneficiaries section. I read it twice. Mark Daniel Brennan, 60%. Lisa Marie Brennan Foster, 30%. Thomas Richard Brennan, 10%. That wasn't right. James and I had wills that split everything equally. 3 children, 3 equal shares. I'd never changed mine. I looked at the signature line at the bottom of the page. My signature. Margaret A. Brennan in blue ink. Dated January 10th. Notary seal stamped next to it. But I never signed this. I was barely functional in January. I'd spent that entire month in pajamas crying over James. I didn't sign anything. I didn't update anything. I held the paper closer to the light, looked at the signature, the way the M curved, the way the A slanted slightly right, the way Brennan had that little loop on the B. I'd been signing my name for 72 years. I knew what it looked like. This wasn't my signature, but I knew whose handwriting it was. The slant, the loop, the pressure of the pen. It looked like Mark's. I set the will down, reached back into the safe. More documents. Power of attorney papers, trust documents, bank statements with withdrawals I didn't recognize. My hands were shaking. I opened that safe. And what I found inside changed everything. I'm Margaret Brennan, 72 years old, retired high school English teacher. I taught for 35 years at Lincoln High, 3 miles from this house. Same house James and I bought in 1982. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, ranch style. Suburban neighborhood where everyone knows everyone, where Barbara next door brings casseroles when she knows you're struggling. James died 6 months ago. Pancreatic cancer, diagnosed in October, gone by February. He was 74. We had 46 years together. Not enough, but more than some people get. He handled the finances, investments, retirement accounts, estate planning. I taught English and graded essays. He balanced checkbooks and filed taxes. That was our arrangement. It worked. Until it didn't. We raised 3 kids in this house. Mark, the eldest, 48 now, smart kid, full scholarship to state college, graduated with honors, went into sales, made good money for years. Then the divorce 3 years ago. Messy, expensive. He lost the house, most of his savings. Then he lost his job during the pandemic. Never really recovered. Started gambling online. Poker first, then sports betting. He called me at 2 a.m. once, crying about debts. I'd helped him before. $50,000 over 2 years. I thought I was helping him recover. Lisa, my middle child, 45, sweet girl. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Opened a boutique clothing store in 2017, poured her savings into it. It failed within a year. She called me crying. Mom, I'm going to lose everything. I helped. $25,000 to settle her debts. She's married now. Mike's a good man, electrician, steady work. They have Emma, 9 years old, my granddaughter, the light of my life. Tom, the youngest, 43, software engineer. Lives in Denver with his wife Angela. She's a nurse. They have 2 kids, 6 and 4. Tom's the stable one. Calls every Sunday at 10 a.m. FaceTime so I can see the grandkids. He flew in for Easter. First time in 6 months. I was so happy to see him. Barbara Kowalski lives next door, 68, retired nurse, widowed 8 years ago. We've had coffee together every Tuesday morning for 20 years. 10 a.m. My kitchen table. She brings the cream. I make the coffee. She's the one who organized the book club at the library, mystery novels mostly. We meet Wednesdays. She noticed when I stopped going after James died. I gave my kids everything. That's what parents do, right? College tuition, $85,000 total. 3 kids through state school. I worked double shifts grading summer school papers to cover it. Down payment for Mark's first house in 2015, $50,000. I tapped my retirement fund, told James it was an investment in Mark's future. Lisa's business bailout in 2018, $25,000. Second mortgage on this house to get it. Medical bills when Mike was unemployed in 2020, $30,000. Lisa couldn't afford the hospital bills for Emma's appendectomy. I paid them. Total, $190,000 over 35 years. I thought I was building their futures, helping them get ahead, being a good mother. I thought I was doing the right thing. 2 months ago, Mark stopped by. March. I was still barely functioning, still sleeping in James's t-shirts, still crying at random times. Mark came over with papers. Mom, we need to update your estate planning. With Dad gone, you need new documents. Power of attorney, updated will, trust stuff. I talked to a lawyer. He prepared everything. You just need to sign. I should have read them. I should have asked questions. But I was so tired. And it was Mark, my son. Why would I question him? I signed them. 4 documents. Didn't read a single one. Just signed where he pointed. Blue ink. My signature. Or what I thought was my signature. That was the red flag. The one I ignored. Easter, 5 years ago. 2019. The table was full. James carved the ham. Mark made jokes, had everyone laughing. Lisa brought her green bean casserole, the one with the fried onions on top. Tom and Angela were visiting. The kids were little then. Emma was 4. We took a photo. Everyone smiling. James had his arm around me. That's family, I thought. That's what matters. This Easter? Mark put me in the garage. I stood in the hallway after I closed the safe, looked at our wedding photo on the wall, James in his suit, me in my mother's dress. 46 years ago. He died 6 months ago, and I still reach for him in the morning. Still make 2 cups of coffee before I remember. He always said, check that safe if something feels wrong. I should have checked sooner. That evening, after they all left, I sat at the dining room table, alone. Same table where we'd hosted 42 Easter dinners, where James carved the ham every year, where the kids did homework, where we'd celebrated every milestone. Now, empty chairs, cold dinner leftovers, silence. From the window, I could see the rose bushes. James and I planted them together 20 years ago. They needed pruning. I'd been avoiding the garden since he died. Too many memories. But the roses kept growing anyway, weeds tangling around them. I needed to tend them. Soon. That night, after they all left, I went back to the safe, pulled out every document, bank statements, trust papers, the will I supposedly updated in January. I spread them across the kitchen table, started reading. Really reading this time. I never updated anything in January. I was barely functional in January, but someone had. Someone had forged my signature on 4 different documents. Someone had changed my will to give himself 60% of everything. Someone had filed power of attorney paperwork to access my bank accounts. Someone named Margaret Brennan, my son, my eldest, the one I gave $50,000 to, the one I'd sat up with during nightmares, the one I taught to ride a bike. I looked at those documents until 2 in the morning, and I realized I needed help. The next morning, I made coffee, 1 cup this time, sat at the kitchen table with the documents from the safe spread in front of me. Bank statements for our joint checking account, the one James and I opened in 1985, the account I still used for bills and groceries. I started reading, January through March, 3 months of statements, January 18th, wire transfer, $15,000, to an account number I didn't recognize. Authorization, power of attorney, February 3rd, wire transfer, $15,000, same account number. Authorization, power of attorney, February 28th, wire transfer, $20,000. March 15th, wire transfer, $15,000. I did the math in my head. $65,000, gone from my account in 3 months. I didn't authorize any of it. I flipped back through the statements, looked for the power of attorney documentation, found it paper clipped to the January statement. Legal document, standard form. Margaret Ann Brennan grants Margaret Brennan power of attorney for financial matters. Dated January 5th, 2024. My signature at the bottom. Notary stamp next to it. But I never signed a power of attorney. Mark never had authority over my accounts. James and I handled everything jointly. After he died, it was just me. I picked up my phone, called the bank, waded through the automated menu, finally got a person. First National Bank, this is Denise. How can I help you? This is Margaret Brennan. I have a question about my checking account. There are some withdrawals I don't recognize. Typing sounds. Okay, Mrs. Brennan, I see your account. What's the question? 4 wire transfers, January through March, $65,000 total. I didn't authorize those. More typing. Pause. I'm showing those were authorized with a power of attorney document, presented by Mark Brennan in January. Is that your son? Yes, but he doesn't have power of attorney. We have the document on file, ma'am. Notarized January 5th. Your signature. We verified it when he presented it. I looked at the document in front of me. My signature, that wasn't my signature. Can you send me a copy of what you have on file? Of course. I'll email it to the address we have. Is there anything else? No, thank you. I hung up, sat there with my cold coffee, stared at the papers. $65,000, 3 months, and the bank thought I'd authorized it. My phone buzzed. Text message. Tom. Hey, Mom, Mark said you're thinking about selling the house? Didn't know you were ready for that. I stared at the text, read it 3 times. I wasn't selling the house. I'd never mentioned selling the house. I texted back, What? No, I'm not selling anything. Tom. That's weird. He said you wanted to downsize, move into a retirement community. He was asking if Angela and I wanted any of the furniture. My hands felt cold. Mark was telling people I was selling my house. The house I'd lived in for 42 years. The house that was still legally mine. I pulled out the property deed from the safe, still in my name, Margaret A. Brennan. But there were copies underneath, county clerk documents, rejected applications, 3 of them, applications to add Mark Daniel Brennan to the property deed, all rejected, all requiring my notarized signature, which apparently wasn't convincing enough even forged. He'd tried to add his name to my house. 3 times. I heard a car door, looked out the window, Lisa's minivan in the driveway. I shoved the papers into a folder, pushed it to the side, grabbed a magazine from the pile by the door, opened it randomly, tried to look casual. Lisa knocked, came in without waiting. "Mom, you home?" "In the kitchen, honey." She appeared in the doorway, holding a container. "Brought you some cookies. Emma helped make them. Chocolate chip." "That's sweet. Thank you." She set the container down, looked at the table, at the folder I'd pushed aside. "What are you looking at?" "Just organizing. Your father kept everything. I'm trying to sort through it." "Oh." She pulled out a chair, sat down. "Mark said you've been acting strange." I kept my face neutral. "Did he?" "He said you called the bank, asking questions about your account. He's worried about you." "I had a question about a withdrawal, normal banking stuff." "Mom," she leaned forward, "are you okay? I mean, really okay? With Dad gone and being alone in this house?" "I'm fine, Lisa." "Because if you're confused about bills or accounts or anything, Mark offered to help. He's good with numbers. He could—" "I don't need Mark's help with my finances." Something in my voice made her stop. She looked at me, then at the folder on the table. "What's going on?" "Nothing. I'm just organizing papers. You'd tell us if something was wrong, right?" I looked at my daughter, thought about the emails I'd found in the safe, the ones between her and Mark, planning how to split the inheritance when I sold the house. "Of course, honey," I said. She didn't believe me. I could see it in her face. But she didn't push. "Okay. Well, I have to pick up Emma from school, but call me if you need anything." "I will." She left. I watched her car pull away. Then I went back to the papers. That evening, Barbara knocked. Didn't bother with the front door. Came through the back like she'd done for 20 years, carrying a casserole dish. "Tuna noodle," she said. "Your favorite." "Barbara, you didn't have to. You missed book club Wednesday. You never miss book club. And Mary said she saw you sitting in your car at the bank parking lot for 20 minutes yesterday, just sitting there. So." She set the casserole on the counter. "What's going on?" I should have lied. Should have said I was fine, but this was Barbara. 20 years of Tuesday morning coffee, 20 years of friendship. "I think Mark's been stealing from me." She pulled out a chair, sat down. "Tell me." I told her. The forged documents, the power of attorney, the $65,000, the applications to add his name to the house deed, the will that gave him 60% of everything. She listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "You need a lawyer. Today." "I know. I mean it, Maggie. This is serious. This is—" She stopped, started again. "This is elder financial abuse. That's a crime. You need protection. You need someone who knows what they're doing. I don't even know where to start." She pulled out her phone, started typing. "My friend Carol. Her nephew tried something similar, cleaned out her savings account. She found a lawyer who specializes in this stuff. Elder law, financial abuse. Let me get the name." She texted someone, waited. Her phone buzzed. Rebecca Chen. Chen and Associates, elder law attorney. Carol said she was fantastic, held the nephew accountable, got most of the money back. She handed me her phone. "Here's the number. Call her tomorrow." I looked at the number on the screen. What if I'm wrong? What if there's an explanation? Barbara looked at me, patient, kind. "Maggie, you taught English for 35 years. You graded thousands of papers. You know handwriting. And you're telling me that signature on those documents looks like Mark's handwriting. So, are you wrong?" I thought about it. Really thought about it. "No, I'm not wrong." "Then call the lawyer." I took a picture of the number on my phone. Barbara stood up. "I'm going to heat up this casserole. You're going to eat something. And then tomorrow, you're going to protect yourself." She moved around my kitchen like she owned it. Found plates, forks, the good napkins, set the table, served the casserole, sat across from me while I ate. Some people show up when things get hard. Barbara was one of them. After she left, I went back to the safe one more time. looked at everything. Bank statements, forged documents, property deed applications, email printouts. I thought about calling Mark, confronting him, asking for an explanation, but I knew if I called him now, he'd know I was investigating. He'd cover his tracks, delete emails, move money, do whatever he needed to do. No, I needed to be smart about this, gather evidence first, build a case, then confront him with proof. I'd spent 72 years keeping the peace, avoiding conflict, being the easy one. Not anymore. I called the attorney's office first thing in the morning, left a message. They called back within an hour. Ms. Chen can see you Thursday at 2. I'll be there. Thursday morning. I dressed carefully. Navy slacks, white blouse. The outfit I used to wear to parent-teacher conferences. Professional. Prepared. I gathered every document from the safe, put them in a folder, drove to the bank. First National Bank. Same building where James and I opened our first account 40 years ago. I'd been coming here for decades, knew the tellers by name. Today felt different. I asked for the fraud department. The receptionist made a call. "Someone will be right with you, Mrs. Brennan." I sat in the waiting area, held the folder on my lap. My hands were steady. I'd made a decision. I was doing this. "Mrs. Brennan?" A woman in her 40s, professional suit, kind eyes. "I'm Sandra Mitchell, fraud department manager. Come with me." We walked to a private office. She closed the door, gestured to a chair. I sat down, set the folder on her desk. "You called earlier this week about unauthorized withdrawals." "Yes, 4 wire transfers, January through March. I didn't authorize them." She opened her computer, pulled up my account. "I see them. $68,000 total. All authorized with a power of attorney document. Your son Mark presented it in January. We verified the signature and processed the transfers." I never gave him power of attorney. She looked at me. Really looked. "Mrs. Brennan, that's a serious allegation." "I know." I opened the folder, pulled out the POA document, slid it across the desk. "This is the copy from my files. Look at the signature." She studied it, then pulled up something on her computer. Side-by-side comparison. My real signature from account documents. The POA signature. She was quiet for a long moment. "They're different," she said. "Yes." She pulled out another document, a signature comparison sheet, put them together. The curves, the slant, the way the letters connected. "Mrs. Brennan," her voice was careful, measured. "This signature on the power of attorney document, it's not yours." "I know." "Which means," she stopped, started again. "Did someone forge your signature?" "Yes." "Your son?" I nodded. She sat back, took a breath. "Mrs. Brennan, this is elder financial abuse. This is a crime. We need to file a police report. We need to freeze your accounts. We need to start a fraud investigation." The words hung in the air. Elder financial abuse, crime, police report, my son, my eldest, a criminal. I sat in that bank manager's office and I couldn't speak. $68,000. My son, my eldest. The one I sat up with when he had nightmares. The one I taught to ride a bike. The one who gave me a handmade Mother's Day card every year until he was 15. He'd been stealing from me for 5 months, forging my signature, using my trust against me, and I'd been signing papers without reading them because I trusted him, because he was my son, because I thought family meant something. I looked at Sandra across the desk, her professional compassion, and I thought, this is real. This is happening. My son is a thief, and I have to stop him. Sandra gave me tissues, waited while I composed myself. "What do I do now?" I asked. "First, we document everything. I'll need copies of all these documents. We'll file a fraud claim with the bank. We'll work to reverse these transfers and recover what we can. But Mrs. Brennan, you need a lawyer. This is beyond banking fraud. This is forgery, theft, exploitation. You need legal protection." "I have an appointment this afternoon with an elder law attorney." "Good, that's very good." She made notes. I'll prepare a statement. Bank records, the forged POA, everything we have on file. Your attorney will need it." She spent the next hour documenting everything, made copies, filled out forms. I signed real documents this time, fraud claim forms, police report authorization, account freeze requests. "Your accounts are now frozen," she said. "Mark can't access them anymore. You'll have sole control. New account numbers, new cards, new passwords, everything's secure. Thank you. I'm sorry this happened to you, but you're doing the right thing. You're protecting yourself." I left the bank at 11:30, sat in my car in the parking lot, engine off, keys in my lap. I couldn't drive yet. Couldn't trust my hands not to shake. $68,000. The bank manager's voice kept echoing. Elder financial abuse, crime, my son. I don't know how long I sat there. 10 minutes, 20. Finally, I started the car, drove home. At home, I went back to the documents, looked at everything with new eyes. The will wasn't just forged, it was strategic. Mark 60%, Lisa 30%, Tom 10%, cutting Tom out almost entirely. Why? Tom lived in Denver, 2,000 miles away. He wouldn't notice, wouldn't be here to question things, wouldn't see what was happening. Mark had planned this carefully. I pulled out my laptop, the old family computer we kept in the den, used it for emails, online bills. I logged in, checked my email for anything suspicious. Nothing. Then I noticed another user account on the computer, Lisa's email. Still logged in from the last time she'd visited. She'd used the computer to check something, never logged out. I shouldn't look. I knew I shouldn't. But I did. I opened her email, searched for Mark's name, found a thread from December, 4 months ago. Mark to Lisa. "When Mom sells the house, we split the proceeds, 60-40. You help me with this, I help you with Emma's tuition." Lisa to Mark. "I don't know about this, Mark. It feels wrong." Mark to Lisa. "She's not going to live forever. We deserve this. We're her kids. She'd want us to have it." Lisa to Mark. "But she hasn't said anything about selling." Mark to Lisa. "She will. Trust me. When the time comes, we'll be ready." I read it 3 times. My daughter knew, not about the forgery maybe, but she knew Mark was planning something, and she didn't tell me. I printed the emails, added them to the folder. That evening, I called Tom. Needed to hear his voice. Needed to talk to someone who wasn't involved. "Hey, Mom, how are you?" "I'm okay. How are the kids?" "Good. Crazy as always. Angela says hi." "Tell her hi back." I paused. "Tom, I need to tell you something." "What's wrong?" I told him. Not everything, but enough. The forged POA, the stolen money, the bank fraud department, the lawyer appointment, silence on the other end. "Tom? Mom, are you sure about this?" My heart sank. "What do you mean?" "I mean, Mark said you've been confused lately, since Dad died. He said you've been forgetting things, getting bills mixed up. He said that's why he was helping you with the accounts." "Tom, I'm not confused. Someone forged my signature. The bank confirmed it. But maybe you signed it and forgot. I mean, you've been through a lot. Thomas." I used his full name, the one I used when he was a kid and needed to listen. "I did not sign those documents. I did not authorize those withdrawals. And your brother has been lying to you." Another silence. "I don't know what to think, Mom." "Then come home. Look at the evidence yourself. But Tom, if you call Mark about this, if you tell him I'm investigating, he'll destroy evidence. He'll cover his tracks. Please, don't call him yet." "Okay, I won't. But Mom, this is crazy. This is Mark, our brother." "I know." We hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand. 2 hours later, my phone rang. Mark. I stared at it. 4 rings, 5. Finally, I answered. "Mom, Tom called me." My stomach dropped. "He said you're claiming I forged some documents, that I stole money from you. Mom, what's going on?" I closed my eyes. Tom had called him anyway. Now Mark knew I was investigating. "We need to talk, Mark." "I think there's been a misunderstanding. Can I come over? Not right now. Mom, I'm worried about you. You've been acting strange since Dad died. I think you're confused. I think you need help. There it was. The gaslighting. You're confused. You need help. I'm not confused, Mark. I know what you did. What did I do, Mom? We'll talk about it, with lawyers present. Silence. Then, you're getting lawyers involved over a misunderstanding? It's not a misunderstanding. Mom, I have to go, Mark. I hung up, sat there shaking. He knew, and he was already building his defense. Mom's confused. Mom needs help. Mom's mentally unstable. I went to the safe, found one more document I'd overlooked, county clerk records. I'd seen the 3 rejected applications to add Mark to the property deed, but there was more. The dates, February 2nd, February 20th, March 8th, 3 attempts. All in the 8 weeks after James died, all while I was grieving, all while I was vulnerable, and all rejected because even a forged signature wasn't good enough. The county clerk required notarization, in person, with ID, which Mark couldn't fake. My house. He'd tried to take my house. I called the notary whose stamp was on the POA, found her name online, Sarah Martinez, Notary Public, left a message. She called back an hour later. Mrs. Brennan, you left a message about a notarization? Yes, a power of attorney document dated January 5th. It has your stamp on it. Let me check my records. Typing sounds. January 5th, 2024. I don't have any record of notarizing a document for you that day. Can you describe the document? I did. That's not my seal. That's a forgery. Mrs. Brennan, someone forged a notary stamp. Can you provide a statement? Something in writing? Absolutely. This is serious. I'll prepare an affidavit. I'll email it to you tomorrow. Thank you. One more piece of evidence. One more proof that Mark had done this. Deliberately. Criminally. That night, organizing evidence, I found a photo. Mark at age 7, gap-toothed smile, holding a fish he'd caught on a camping trip with James. Look, Mom, I did it! So proud. I'd framed this photo, kept it on my dresser for 40 years. Now I couldn't look at it without seeing the forged signatures, the stolen money, the lies. I put it face down in a drawer. Barbara brought dinner around 6, leftover pot roast. You need to eat. I thanked her. Put it in the fridge. Couldn't eat. My stomach was in knots. She didn't push, just squeezed my hand. Tomorrow, the lawyer. You're doing the right thing. After she left, I made a list. Evidence collected. Bank statements with unauthorized withdrawals. Check. Forged power of attorney document. Check. Forged will. Check. Email thread between Mark and Lisa. Check. Property deed applications. Rejected. Check. Notary statement confirming forgery. Pending. Arrives tomorrow. Bank fraud department statement. Pending. Collecting. Handwriting comparison. Need expert. It was a case. A real case. Criminal fraud. Forgery. Elder abuse. Against my son. I looked at the list, looked at the evidence spread across my kitchen table, and I knew tomorrow I'd walk into that lawyer's office and everything would change. But the bank records were just the beginning. Because that night I found the emails, and I realized this wasn't just Mark. Lisa knew, maybe not everything, but enough. My family was falling apart, and I was the one holding the knife. Thursday afternoon, 2 p.m. I sat in the waiting room of Chen & Associates. The folder on my lap felt heavier than it should. Inside, bank statements, forged documents, emails, property records, notary confirmation, everything. The receptionist smiled at me. Ms. Chen will see you now. I followed her down a hallway, professional office, photos of elderly clients on the wall, permission granted, fresh flowers on the side table, warm but not overly decorated. This was a place that understood dignity. Rebecca Chen stood when I entered, mid-50s, professional suit, calm eyes. She shook my hand, firm grip. "Mrs. Brennan, please sit down." I sat, set the folder on her desk. She poured tea from a small pot, green tea in delicate cups, offered me one. I took it. The warmth felt good in my hands. "Tell me what's happening," she said. I told her. Everything. The Easter dinner in the garage, the safe, the forged will, the power of attorney, the $68,000, the emails between Mark and Lisa, the property deed applications, Tom calling Mark despite my asking him not to, Mark now knowing I was investigating. She listened, made notes, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she set down her pen. "How long has this been going on?" "The forgeries are dated January, 3 months, but the planning started in December, before my husband died." "And your son knows you're aware of this?" "As of last night." "Yes." She nodded. "Then we need to move quickly. If he knows you're investigating, he'll take steps to cover his tracks. Delete emails, move money, destroy documents. We need to act now." "What can I do?" She opened a legal pad, started writing. "Several things. First, we document everything. Bank statements, forged documents, emails, everything you've collected. We make copies. I keep originals in our secure files. Second, we file for a restraining order if needed. Third, we report this to Adult Protective Services and law enforcement. This is criminal elder financial abuse. Fourth," she looked at me, "we decide how you want to proceed. Criminal charges, civil restitution, family mediation, or all three." The words settled over me. Criminal charges. My son, in court, possibly in jail. "I don't know what I want," I said. "That's okay. You don't have to decide today. But Mrs. Brennan, I need you to understand something." She leaned forward. "This is not your fault. You trusted your son. That's what parents do. He exploited that trust. He forged legal documents. He stole your money. He tried to steal your home. This is on him, not you." I felt something crack inside, something I'd been holding together since Easter Sunday. "I raised him," I said. "I gave him everything. How did I not see this?" "Because you're his mother, and he knew exactly how to manipulate that." "Mrs. Brennan, I've been doing this for 25 years. Elder financial abuse is almost always committed by family members, adult children, grandchildren, people the victim trusts. It's not your fault you didn't see it. It's his fault for doing it." I thought about Easter 5 years ago, 2019. James was still alive, still healthy. We'd hosted dinner like we did every year. Mark had arrived early to help set up chairs. Lisa brought her green bean casserole. Tom flew in from Denver with Angela and the kids. 8 people around the table. James carved the ham. I served the sides. Mark told jokes. Everyone laughed. "What do we do for dessert?" Emma had asked. She was 4 then. Small voice. Excited. "Apple pie," I'd said. "Your favorite." Mark had hugged me in the kitchen. "Thanks for doing this, Mom. Family dinners matter." That was 5 years ago. This Easter? Mark put me in the garage. Cold. Alone. Paper plate while they ate off china. While he planned how to steal my house. What happened? When did he stop being the son who hugged me in the kitchen and become the man who forged my signature? Rebecca was watching me. Patient. Understanding. "I keep thinking," I said, "if James were here, he'd know what to do. What do you think he would say?" I thought about it, really thought about it. James had installed that safe 30 years ago. "Check this if something feels wrong," he'd said. He'd prepared for this, not this exactly, but for the possibility that someone might try to take advantage of me. He'd left me a way to protect myself. He'd say, "Protect yourself," I said. He'd say, "Don't let anyone take advantage of you." Then that's what we do. She slid a document across the desk. Retainer agreement. Chen and Associates would represent me in matters of elder financial abuse, fraud, and estate protection. Hourly rate. Estimated costs. Payment schedule. I read it. Really read it this time. Every line, every clause. Not like the papers I'd signed for Mark in March. Not rushed. Not trusting blindly. When I finished, I looked up. "What happens if we do this? If I hire you? We build a case, we gather evidence, we pursue legal remedies, civil or criminal or both. We protect your assets, we make sure this doesn't happen again. And Mark? Mark faces consequences, legal consequences, financial consequences. That's not your responsibility. That's the legal system's responsibility. Your responsibility is to protect yourself. I looked at the retainer agreement, looked at the folder of evidence, looked at Rebecca Chen, who specialized in cases like mine, who'd seen this before, who knew how to fight it. I thought about 72 years of keeping the peace, being the easy one, the forgiving one, the one who signed papers without reading them because why would I question my own son? I thought about sitting in the garage while my family laughed inside, about bank statements with $68,000 missing, about emails planning my house sale before I'd agreed to sell, about 3 attempts to add Mark's name to my property deed, while I was crying over James's death. I thought about what James would say. I picked up the pen, the one Rebecca had set next to the document. Blue ink, same color as the forged signatures, but this time it was my pen, my choice, my signature. I signed the retainer agreement, slowly, deliberately, my real signature. Margaret A. Brennan, every letter intentional. Rebecca witnessed it, signed her own name, made copies. Welcome to Chen & Associates, Mrs. Brennan. We're going to protect you. I sat in the lawyer's office signing papers, real papers this time, papers that protected me. And for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe. After the meeting, Rebecca walked me through next steps. First, we secure your assets. I'm recommending you rent a safe deposit box at a different bank. Move all original documents there. Only you have access. Not Mark, not Lisa, not Tom, just you. Okay. Second, we send a cease and desist letter to Mark. Official notice that he is not to contact you, access your accounts, or discuss your assets with anyone. If he violates it, we have grounds for a restraining order. When? I'll send it tomorrow. That fast? Mrs. Brennan, you don't have time to wait. Mark knows you're investigating. Every day we delay is a day he can destroy evidence. She was right. I'd spent 3 months not knowing, not seeing. Now I knew, and I couldn't unknow it. We talked for another 30 minutes. Strategy, timeline, costs, evidence still needed. By the time I left, I had a plan, not just a folder of documents, a plan, a lawyer, a strategy. I drove to a different bank across town, opened a safe deposit box, put every original document inside, the forged will, the forged POA, the bank statements, the emails, everything. Only I had the key. Only I knew the password. Only I controlled access. The safe at home was empty now, but it had served its purpose. James had been right. Check the safe when something feels wrong. I'd checked. I'd found the truth. Now I was protecting it. I drove home as the sun was setting, pulled into my driveway, looked at my house, the one James and I bought 42 years ago, the one Mark tried to steal, mine, still mine, and I was going to keep it that way. Friday morning, Rebecca's cease and desist letter went out. Certified mail. Mark would receive it by Monday. I spent the weekend organizing, copies of everything to Rebecca, originals in the safe deposit box, a timeline spreadsheet on my laptop. December. Emails between Mark and Lisa. January. Forged documents, first withdrawal. February through March. Additional withdrawals, property deed attempts. April. Easter dinner. Safe discovery. Investigation begins. Everything documented. Everything dated. Saturday afternoon, my phone rang. Tom. Mom, I'm coming home. What? I booked a flight. Land Monday morning. I need to see this evidence myself. I need to understand what's happening. Something in my chest loosened. Thank you. Angela's staying with the kids. I'm coming alone. I'll stay in my old room if that's okay. Of course it's okay. It's still your room. Monday morning, I picked Tom up at the airport. He looked tired, worried. hugged me tight in the arrivals area. "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry I called Mark. I should have listened to you." "You didn't know. I should have trusted you." We drove home. I made coffee, spread all the documents across the dining room table: bank statements, forged POA, forged will, email printouts, property deed applications, notary affidavit, everything. Tom sat down, started reading. I watched his face change. Confusion, disbelief, anger. "He forged your signature." "Yes." "He stole $68,000. "Yes." "He tried to add his name to the house deed 3 times. "Yes." Tom looked up at me. "Mom, this is criminal fraud. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is a crime." "I know." He stood up, walked to the window, looked out at the backyard, the rose bushes James and I had planted, the garden that needed tending. "I'll testify," he said. "Whatever you need, I'll testify against him." "Tom." "He called me in February, said you were thinking about selling the house, asked if Angela and I wanted any of the furniture. He was planning this, Mom. He was laying groundwork, making it seem like it was your idea. I'll testify to that conversation. I'll testify to all of it." I felt tears in my eyes. "Thank you." That evening, Tom made dinner. Spaghetti, like he used to make in high school. We ate at the kitchen table, talked about his kids, his work, normal things. It felt good to have someone in the house, someone on my side. "You can sleep in your old room," I said. "I haven't changed anything." He smiled. "Same twin bed?" "Same twin bed." That night, I heard him on the phone with Angela. Quiet voice from his childhood bedroom. "No, it's worse than I thought. Yeah, I'm staying through the weekend." I made coffee for 2 the next morning, habit from when James was alive, but this time, there actually was someone to drink it. Tom came down in his pajamas, sat across from me. "So what's next?" he asked. "Rebecca is preparing our case, but there's a complication." "What complication?" I told him. Mark had responded to the cease and desist, not by backing down, by filing a guardianship petition, claiming I was mentally unfit to manage my own affairs, claiming I needed a court-appointed guardian, claiming I was confused, forgetful, unable to make sound decisions. Tom's face went dark. "He's trying to have you declared incompetent." "Yes, there's a hearing scheduled, 2 weeks from now. I have to undergo a competency evaluation, prove I'm mentally fit." "That's insane. You're the sharpest 72-year-old I know." "The court doesn't know that. They need documentation." Rebecca had already arranged it. Dr. Emily Stevens, licensed psychologist, specializes in competency evaluations for seniors. Appointment Wednesday afternoon, Dr. Stevens' office. Pleasant woman in her 40s, warm but professional. She explained the evaluation: cognitive assessment, memory test, decision-making capacity, standard protocol for guardianship hearings. Count backwards from 100 by 7s. 100, 93, 86, 79, 72, 65. Excellent. If you have $100 and spend $37.50, what's the change? $62.50. Who is the current president? I answered. Named the vice president, named my congressperson, recited my address, phone number, social security number from memory. She gave me words to remember, asked me to recall them 10 minutes later. I did, all 5 words. She asked about my daily routine, my finances, my health, my social connections. I told her. Book club on Wednesdays, coffee with Barbara on Tuesdays. I balance my checkbook monthly. I take 2 medications, both for blood pressure prescribed by Dr. Chen at Lincoln Family Practice. I drive. I grocery shop. I manage my household. After an hour, she set down her clipboard. "Mrs. Brennan, your MMSE score is 29 out of 30. That's above average for any age. Your memory is excellent. Your reasoning is clear. Your decision-making capacity is fully intact." She smiled. "There is absolutely no evidence of cognitive impairment. You're sharp as a tack." "So the guardianship petition has no medical merit whatsoever. I'll prepare my report for the court. But Mrs. Brennan, you're doing everything right. You recognized fraud. You collected evidence. You hired an attorney. You're protecting yourself. That's not incompetence. That's intelligence. I left her office feeling lighter than I had in weeks. That evening, Lisa called. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "Mom, we need to talk." "Okay. Can I come over? Just me. Mike's home with Emma." "Fine." She arrived 20 minutes later, brought cookies, Emma's chocolate chip recipe, set them on the counter, didn't look at me. "Mom, I'm asking you to drop this." "Drop what?" "The lawyers, the investigation, all of it. Mark made a mistake. He knows he messed up. But if you keep pushing this, if you press charges, he could go to jail." I looked at my daughter, thought about the emails, the ones where she and Mark planned how to split my assets when I sold the house. He didn't make a mistake, Lisa. He committed fraud. He was desperate. He's struggling. The gambling, the debts. So he stole from me, forged my signature, tried to steal my house. He's family, Mom. So am I. Where was family when he put me in the garage at Easter? She flinched. I didn't know he was going to do that. But you knew he was planning something. The emails, Lisa, I found them. December. You and Mark discussing my house, my assets, before he even forged the documents. She started crying. I didn't know he was going to forge anything. I swear. He just said you were thinking about downsizing. He said he wanted to help you. I believed him. Did you? Or did you just not want to know? She wiped her eyes. Please, Mom. He's my brother. If he goes to jail, if he gets a record, he'll never recover. Emma will grow up knowing her uncle is a criminal. I'm begging you, drop the charges. We'll pay you back. Somehow, over time. But please, don't destroy him. I thought about it. Thought about Mark at age 7 with the gap-toothed smile. Thought about family dinners and Mother's Day cards and the son who used to hug me in the kitchen. Then I thought about $68,000. Forged signatures. 3 attempts to steal my house. The guardianship petition trying to have me declared incompetent. Lisa, if I drop this, what happens? He pays you back. We work it out. Family. And next time, when he needs money again, when the gambling gets bad again, what stops him from doing this to me again? Or to you? Or to Emma when she's older? She didn't answer. I can't drop this. Not to save him from consequences he earned. I'm sorry. She stood up, left the cookies on the counter, walked out without another word. I sat there in the quiet kitchen, looked at the cookies. Emma had helped make them. Emma, who was 9 years old, who loved her grandmother, who shouldn't have to watch her uncle destroy his life. But I couldn't save Mark by letting him destroy mine. Friday afternoon, Rebecca called. We need to talk about the guardianship hearing. It's in 1 week. We have Dr. Stevens' evaluation. It's excellent. But Mark has a lawyer, a good one. They're going to argue that you're being manipulated, that someone is influencing you against your own son. They'll say you're paranoid, suspicious, unable to trust family. What do? We prepare. We document everything. We show the court that you're acting rationally, reasonably, and in your own best interest. Tom will testify. Barbara will testify. Dr. Stevens will present her evaluation. The bank will provide fraud documentation. We make it clear. You're not confused. You're protecting yourself from a real threat. That night, I couldn't sleep. Went to the safe one more time. Not the home safe. That was empty now. But I'd kept 1 copy of each document at home. For reference. I pulled out the property deed applications, the 3 rejected attempts to add Mark's name to the house. Looked at the dates again. February 2nd, February 20th, March 8th. 3 attempts in 6 weeks, all while I was grieving James, all while I was barely functional, and then a 4th page I'd missed before. March 28th, 1 week before Easter, a 4th attempt, also rejected, also requiring notarization Mark couldn't fake. He'd tried 4 times to steal my house. The last attempt was 1 week before he put me in the garage. He'd been planning to force me out of my own home. I sat there at the kitchen table, looking at those documents, looking at the dates, the pattern, the premeditation. This wasn't desperation. This was calculated. The hearing was in 1 week. Mark would be there. His lawyer would be there. They'd argue I was confused, paranoid, incompetent. But I had evidence. I had witnesses. I had Dr. Stevens' evaluation showing I was sharper than most people half my age. I had the truth, and the truth was going to protect me. The guardianship hearing was scheduled for Friday at 10 a.m. Court-appointed mediation first, then hearing if mediation failed. Rebecca recommended we try mediation. Less adversarial, more control over outcome, and if we can settle this without a judge, you avoid a public hearing. Thursday night, I couldn't sleep. Laid in bed thinking about tomorrow, thinking about seeing Mark face to face for the first time since Easter, since the garage, since I'd discovered everything. Friday morning, I dressed carefully, same navy slacks and white blouse from the attorney consultation, professional, prepared. Tom drove me to Rebecca's office. We were meeting there first, then going to the courthouse together. Rebecca's conference room, large table, chairs for 10 people, windows overlooking downtown. She'd set up the space deliberately, organized, professional, safe. They'll arrive at 9:30, Rebecca said. Mark, his attorney, David Winters, Lisa. The mediator arrives at 9:45. We'll have 15 minutes to prepare. Tom sat next to me, put his hand over mine on the table. You okay, Mom? I'm okay. At 9:30 exactly, they arrived. Rebecca's receptionist showed them in. Mark looked terrible, thinner than at Easter, dark circles under his eyes, rumpled suit. His attorney, David Winters, was sharp, expensive suit, confident walk. Lisa followed them in. She wouldn't look at me. They sat across the table, 6 feet of polished wood between us. The distance felt bigger. Mark started to say something. Rebecca held up a hand. We wait for the mediator. At 9:45, the mediator arrived. Judge Patricia Morrison, retired, now a private mediator, gray hair, kind but firm eyes. She shook everyone's hand, sat at the head of the table. I've reviewed the guardianship petition and the opposing documents, she said. This is a family matter involving allegations of financial abuse. We're here to see if we can resolve this without a hearing. Let's begin with the facts. Rebecca opened her folder. With your permission, I'd like to present the evidence chronologically. Judge Morrison nodded. Rebecca laid out the first document, bank statements. January through March 2024, 4 wire transfers from Mrs. Brennan's account, total $68,000, all unauthorized. Mark's attorney leaned forward. My client had power of attorney. These were authorized. Rebecca slid the POA document across the table. This power of attorney, dated January 5th, Mrs. Brennan's signature. Then she placed another document beside it. Signature comparison sheet, my real signature from multiple bank documents, the POA signature. They're different, Judge Morrison said immediately. Yes, the signature on the power of attorney is a forgery. Rebecca continued. More documents. The forged will, the trust amendments, all with my signature that wasn't my signature. Then the property deed applications, all 4 of them now, February 2nd, February 20th, March 8th, March 28th. 4 attempts, Rebecca said, all rejected by the county clerk because they required in-person notarization with ID, which Mr. Brennan couldn't provide. Mark's face had gone pale. Rebecca pulled out the next document, Notary Affidavit. Sarah Martinez, Notary Public, states definitively that she did not notarize any documents for Mrs. Brennan in January 2024. The notary seal on the power of attorney is forged. David Winters shuffled papers, whispered to Mark. Bank fraud department statement, Rebecca continued. Sandra Mitchell, fraud manager at First National Bank, confirms the signatures are forged, confirms elder financial abuse, police report filed. She placed the final document on the table. Competency evaluation. Dr. Emily Stevens, licensed psychologist. MMSE score 29 out of 30. No cognitive impairment. Fully competent to manage her own affairs. The guardianship petition has no medical merit. Judge Morrison looked at Mark. Mr. Brennan, do you have a response to this evidence? Mark opened his mouth, closed it. His attorney whispered something. Mark shook his head. I need a moment with my client, David Winters said. 5 minutes, Judge Morrison said. They stepped out. Lisa stayed, sat there across from me, staring at her hands. Tom leaned close, whispered, You're doing great, Mom. When they came back, Mark's eyes were red. My client, David Winters began, has struggled significantly since his divorce. Financial hardship, job loss, gambling addiction. He made poor decisions out of desperation. He deeply regrets his actions. That's not a defense, Rebecca said. That's an explanation. Judge Morrison held up a hand. Let's hear from the family. Tom, you wanted to testify? Tom stood, cleared his throat. In February, Mark called me. Said Mom was thinking about selling the house. Asked if my wife and I wanted any of the furniture. He made it sound like it was Mom's idea, like she was planning it. Now I know he was laying groundwork, making it seem legitimate when he tried to add his name to the deed. I'll testify to that conversation. I'll testify that Mom has never, not once, mentioned selling this house. That was Mark's plan, not hers. He sat down. His hand was shaking. I squeezed it. Dr. Stevens, Judge Morrison said, your evaluation? Dr. Stevens had joined by video call, her face on the screen at the end of the table. Mrs. Brennan's cognitive function is excellent. Her MMSE score places her in the top quartile for her age group. Her memory is sharp. Her reasoning is clear. She recognized fraud, gathered evidence, and took appropriate legal action. That's not confusion, that's competence. The guardianship petition is medically groundless. Judge Morrison made notes, then looked at me. Mrs. Brennan, do you want to say anything? I looked at Rebecca. She nodded. I stood up, looked at Mark across the table. Mark, I gave you everything. Your education, your house down payment. When you lost your job, I helped with your mortgage payments. When your marriage failed, I was there. Every crisis, every problem. I helped, and you repaid me by forging my signature, by stealing my life savings. Then you tried to have me declared incompetent. You put me in the garage at Easter dinner like I was nothing, like I didn't matter. You gambled on me dying before I noticed what you'd done. Well, I noticed, and now you face the consequences. I hope you get help for your addiction. I hope you recover, but I can't help you anymore. You made your choice, and I'm making mine. You violated my trust. You stole from me. You tried to steal my home. I can't forgive that. Not now, maybe not ever. My voice was steady, tired, but steady. Mark's voice cracked. Mom, I'm sorry, I was drowning. The debts, the gambling, I lost everything. So you tried to take mine? Lisa was crying now. Quiet tears. He's sick, Mom. He needs help. I looked at my daughter. I hope he gets it, but I can't be the one to provide it anymore. Judge Morrison let the silence sit. Then, given the evidence presented, I'm recommending settlement with restitution. Mr. Brennan, your attorney should advise you that if this goes to a hearing, the court will likely rule against you on the guardianship petition, and Mrs. Brennan's attorney will likely file criminal charges. Your best option is settlement. David Winters whispered to Mark for a long moment. Finally, my client agrees to settle. Judge Morrison pulled out the mediation agreement form. Terms: Mr. Mark Brennan agrees to repay $68,000 to Mrs. Margaret Brennan over a period not to exceed 3 years. Monthly payments of $2,000 starting June 1st. No contact between Mr. Brennan and Mrs. Brennan unless mutually agreed in writing. Mrs. Brennan retains all assets, property, and legal autonomy. Mr. Brennan withdraws the guardianship petition. Mrs. Brennan agrees not to pursue criminal charges, provided repayment terms are met. Violation of any term voids this agreement and allows Mrs. Brennan to pursue all legal remedies, including criminal prosecution. Agreed? Rebecca looked at me. I nodded. Mrs. Brennan agrees. David Winters looked at Mark. Mark nodded slowly. Mr. Brennan agrees. Judge Morrison prepared the documents. We signed, Mark signed, lawyers signed, mediator signed. It was done. When the mediator read the settlement terms, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt tired, relieved, but mostly tired. This was my son, and he'd gambled on me dying before I noticed. After they left, Tom hugged me. You did it, Mom. Rebecca shook my hand. The settlement will be filed this afternoon. The no-contact order is effective immediately. You're protected. I sat in the conference room for a moment after everyone left, looked at the documents on the table, the evidence that had saved me, bank statements, forged signatures, property deeds, my entire case, laid out on polished wood. I thought about Mark at 7 years old, gap-toothed smile. Look, Mom, I did it. Then I thought about Mark at 48, forging signatures, stealing money, trying to steal my house. What happened between 7 and 48? When did love become theft? I didn't have an answer, but I had my house, my independence, my life, and that would have to be enough. Tom drove me home. We stopped for lunch, sandwiches at the cafe where Barbara and I usually met on Tuesdays. Tom ordered for both of us. Tuna melt for me, club sandwich for him. How are you feeling? He asked. I don't know. Empty, maybe, relieved, but empty. You did the right thing. Did I? He's your brother. He's in debt. He's struggling. And he stole from you, Mom. He forged legal documents. He tried to have you declared incompetent. You did the right thing. I ate my sandwich, thought about consequences. Mark would make payments for 3 years, $2,000 a month. He'd have to work, stay employed, manage his addiction, take responsibility. Maybe that was good for him. Maybe that was what he needed. Or maybe I was just telling myself that to feel better about what I'd done. That evening, the doorbell rang. I opened it. Lisa stood there, eyes puffy from crying. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She came in, sat on the couch. I'm sorry, Mom, for the emails, for not telling you what Mark was planning, for asking you to drop the case. I was trying to protect him, but he didn't deserve protection. You did. Lisa, no, let me finish. Mark made his choices. He hurt you, and I enabled it by staying quiet. I'm sorry. I know you might not forgive me, but I needed to say it. I sat down next to her. I'm angry at you, for the emails, for knowing something was wrong and not warning me. But Lisa, you're still my daughter. You didn't forge the documents. You didn't steal the money. Mark did that, not you. I knew he was planning something, but you didn't know what. There's a difference between suspicion and knowledge. You made a mistake, but it's not the same as what Mark did. She cried. I held her. My daughter, 45 years old, still my child. Can we try, she asked, to rebuild this? Slowly, I said, very slowly, but yes, we can try. She left an hour later, Emma's cookies still on the counter from her last visit. Lisa took them with her. Emma wants to see you, she said. Maybe next weekend? Maybe. After she left, I sat in my living room, alone. The house was quiet. The same house James and I bought 42 years ago. The same house Mark tried to take. Mine now, protected, legal, secure. I'd won. If winning was the right word for what had happened, my son was gone. A no-contact order between us. My family fractured, but my independence intact. Some victories feel like losses, but I was still here, still standing, still in my house. And that, I supposed, was something. 2 weeks after the settlement, life returned to something like normal, except it wasn't normal. It was new normal, different. June 1st. The first payment arrived. Check for $2,000. Mark Daniel Brennan in the memo line. I deposited it. Watched the bank teller process it. $2,000 toward $68,000. 33 more payments to go. Rebecca called that afternoon. First payment cleared. He's honoring the terms. That's a good sign. Is it? It means he's taking responsibility. It's a start. I didn't know if it was enough, but it was something. Tom called that evening. Mom, I have news. Angela and I talked. We're moving back next spring. I'm taking a job transfer, Denver office to here. We want to be closer. The kids should know their grandmother. I should have been here all along. My chest tightened. Tom, you don't have to do that. I want to. We want to. This is home. You're here. It's time. After we hung up, I sat at the kitchen table. Tom was coming home. Moving back. My youngest son. The one who'd stayed away for 6 years. He was coming back. Not out of duty. Out of choice. Because he wanted to. Because family mattered. The right kind of family. The kind that showed up. The kind that protected. The kind that stayed. Barbara came over Tuesday morning like she'd done for 20 years. Coffee at 10 a.m., my kitchen table. She brought cream. I made coffee. Same ritual. But now she knew everything. The forgery, the theft, the guardianship hearing, the settlement, and she was still here. Still showing up. Still my friend. You did the right thing, she said, even when it was hard. It doesn't feel right. It feels necessary, but not right. That's because you're a good person, Maggie. Bad people don't worry about whether they did the right thing. We sat in comfortable silence. 20 years of friendship. Tuna casseroles and book club and Tuesday morning coffee. Some things stayed constant, even when everything else changed. That was worth something. Maybe everything. Thursday afternoon. A letter arrived. Handwritten envelope. Lisa's handwriting. I sat on the couch. Opened it carefully. Dear Mom, I don't expect you to forgive me. Not quickly, maybe not ever. But I need to say things I couldn't say in person. I knew Mark was struggling. I knew he was making plans. I should have asked more questions. I should have warned you. I was scared. Scared of losing my brother. Scared of choosing sides. Scared of being the one who broke the family. So I stayed quiet. And that was wrong. You didn't break this family, Mom. Mark did. And I enabled it by staying silent. I'm sorry. I know sorry isn't enough, but it's what I have. Emma misses you. She asks about you every day. She doesn't understand why we don't see Grandma anymore. I told her we had a disagreement, that we're working on it. I hope that's true. I hope we can work on it. I'm not asking you to forgive Mark. I'm not even asking you to forgive me right away. I'm just asking for a chance to rebuild, slowly, however you need. Emma wants to visit if you're ready. No pressure, just love. Your daughter, Lisa. I read it 3 times, folded it carefully, put it back in the envelope. Lisa was trying, acknowledging her role, not excusing it, not asking for easy forgiveness, just asking for a chance. I called her that evening. Emma can visit Saturday if she wants to. Lisa's voice broke. Thank you, Mom. Thank you. Saturday afternoon, Lisa's minivan pulled into the driveway. Emma jumped out, 9 years old, bright smile, running toward the house. I opened the door. She hugged me, tight. Grandma, I missed you. I missed you too, sweetheart. Lisa stayed in the car, gave us space. Emma came inside, wanted to help me bake cookies, chocolate chip, her specialty. We measured flour, mixed butter and sugar. She talked about school, her friends, her soccer team, normal things, kid things. When the cookies came out of the oven, she ate 3. Hot, burned her tongue, laughed anyway. Mom says you and Uncle Mark had a fight. Something like that. Are you still mad? It's complicated, honey. Adults always say that. She ate another cookie. I think you should make up. Family is important. You're right. Family is important. But sometimes, family is complicated. She thought about that. Okay, but I love you. I love you too. Lisa picked her up at 5, stood on the porch, awkward. Thank you for today. She's my granddaughter. She's always welcome. And me? Slowly, Lisa. We're rebuilding. Slowly. She nodded, drove away. Emma waved from the back seat. Monday morning, I had an appointment. New attorney, Stephanie Rodriguez, estate planning specialist. Rebecca had recommended her. Time to update my will. The right way this time. Stephanie's office. Professional. Warm. Photos of her kids on the desk. She shook my hand. Mrs. Brennan, Rebecca told me what happened. I'm so sorry. I'm here to make sure it doesn't happen again. We spent 2 hours going over everything. New will, new trust, new power of attorney documents, everything updated, everything legitimate, everything notarized properly. Who do you want as executor? Stephanie asked. Tom, my youngest son. He's moving back next spring. And beneficiaries? 3 children, equal shares, but Mark is explicitly disinherited. I want that clear, in writing, with explanation. He forged documents, he stole money, he violated my trust. He gets nothing. Stephanie wrote it down. And your grandchildren? I want protected trusts for them. Emma, Lisa's daughter, Tom's 2 kids, Jack and Sophie. Trusts they can access at age 25. Mark can't touch them, ever. We can do that. She prepared the documents. I read every word, every clause, every sentence. Not like the papers I'd signed for Mark in March. Not rushed, not trusting blindly. Careful, deliberate. Protecting my family the right way. I signed. My real signature. Margaret A. Brennan. Stephanie notarized it. Properly. With witnesses. With my ID checked. Legal, legitimate, protected. You're all set, she said. Your estate is protected. Your wishes are documented. No one can contest this. I left her office feeling lighter. My will was updated. My house was mine. My assets were protected. The grandchildren had trusts. Tom was executor. Mark was disinherited with clear explanation. Everything legal, everything documented, everything right. That evening, I went to the safe deposit box at the new bank, added the new will to the documents already there. The forged will next to the real will, the evidence of what happened, the proof of what I'd survived. Only I had the key. Only I had access. Only I controlled my own documents now. I drove home as the sun was setting, looked at my house. The roses needed pruning. The garden needed weeding. But it was mine. Still mine. Legal. Protected. Secure. Some of my family was gone. Mark behind a no-contact order. Lisa slowly rebuilding trust, but some family remained. Tom coming home. Emma baking cookies in my kitchen. Barbara showing up every Tuesday morning. Family wasn't who you were born to. Family was who stayed, who protected you, who showed up when things got hard. I had that family, different than I'd planned, smaller than I'd hoped, but real. And that was enough. Thanksgiving. 6 months after the settlement. My dining room table. The same one from Easter, but this time I was sitting at the head, where James used to sit. Tom and Angela to my right. Their kids, Jack and Sophie, across from them, 6 and 4 years old, excited about pie. Lisa and Emma to my left. Mike at the other end, carving the turkey. Barbara next to him, laughing at something he said. 8 people. The same number as Easter, but different people. Different energy. Real. Mark's chair was empty, between Lisa and Tom. We'd set it there deliberately, acknowledged, but empty. A reminder. A choice. Emma looked at it. Is Uncle Mark coming? Lisa squeezed her hand. Not today, sweetheart. Why not? It's complicated, but we're glad you're here. Tom raised his glass. Apple cider for the kids, wine for the adults. To Mom, to family, to the people who show up. We clinked glasses. I looked around the table. My family. Not the family I'd planned for, not the family I'd raised, but the family that stayed. The family that protected me, the family that showed up. Barbara caught my eye, smiled. 20 years of Tuesday morning coffee. She'd been there through James's death, through the discovery, through the hearings, through everything. Still here, still showing up. After dinner, while the kids played in the living room, Lisa helped me with dishes. Quiet work, comfortable silence. "Mark's been making his payments," she said, "every month, on time." "I know. He's in counseling now, for the gambling and a therapist. He's working 2 jobs, trying to get back on his feet." I rinsed a plate, handed it to her. "I'm glad he's getting help." "Do you think you'll ever—" "I don't know, Lisa. Maybe someday, but not now. The no-contact order stays." She nodded. "I understand. How are you doing?" "Better. Mike and I are in counseling too, dealing with everything. Emma's doing okay. She misses you less now that she sees you." "She can come over any time, you know that." "I know, thank you." We finished the dishes, joined the others in the living room. Emma was showing Jack and Sophie how to play a card game. Their laughter filled the house. The same house that had felt so empty 6 months ago, still empty sometimes, but not today. The new will was filed at the courthouse. Public record now. Anyone could see it. Margaret Ann Brennan, of sound mind, explicitly disinherits Mark Daniel Brennan due to elder financial abuse, forgery, and theft. 3 equal shares for Tom, Lisa, and a charitable remainder to a local elder advocacy organization. Protected trusts for the grandchildren. Tom is executor. Everything documented. Everything legal. Everything protected. Barbara had referred a friend to Rebecca Chen last month, another elderly woman whose son was helping with her finances. Rebecca took the case. The friend got her money back, got protection, got justice. Maybe that was part of my legacy too, not just protecting myself, but showing others it was possible, that you could fight back, that you could win, even at 72, even when it was your own child, even when it felt impossible. Some days I still can't believe it happened. My own son, forging my signature, stealing my money, trying to steal my house. But I don't dwell on it. I have a life to live, and I'm not spending it in the garage anymore. I still live in this house. Same bedroom where James and I slept for 46 years. Same kitchen where I made coffee for 2 every morning. Same dining room where we hosted 42 Thanksgivings before this one. Some memories hurt, but they're mine. This house is mine, and I'm keeping it. I manage my own finances now. Took a financial literacy class at the senior center. New bank, new passwords, new safe deposit box. I know where every dollar is. I balance my checkbook monthly. I review my statements. I read every document before I sign. Never again will I sign something without reading it. Never again will I trust blindly. Mark makes his payments. $2,000 on the first of every month. 20 months down, 16 to go. Lisa says he's changed, says he's sober from gambling, says he's trying. I hope that's true, but I don't know if I'll ever trust him again. Maybe that's sad. Maybe that's realistic. Maybe it's both. Tom and Angela are moving back in March, bought a house 3 miles from here. The kids will go to Lincoln Elementary, same school where I taught for 35 years. Tom calls 3 times a week now, FaceTime so I can see the grandkids. "Love you, Mom," he says before hanging up. Every time, without fail. Barbara and I still have coffee every Tuesday, 10 a.m., my kitchen table. She brings the cream. I make the coffee. Same ritual. 20 years and counting. Some things stay constant even when everything else changes. Maybe you're listening to this and thinking about your own family. Maybe there's someone asking you to sign papers real quick. Maybe you're already feeling excluded, pushed aside, minimized. Trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Get a lawyer. Get a second opinion. Protect your assets before you need to. And remember, being old doesn't mean being easy to fool. It means you've earned the right to protect what's yours. You don't owe anyone your independence. Not your children. Not your family. Not anyone. Your life is yours. Protect it. I'm 72 years old. I live alone in the house I've lived in for 42 years. Some days are lonely. Some days are hard. But it's my house, my life, my choice. Some families you're born into. Some families you choose. I chose me, and that's enough.